from Singapore, Muhamad, the Chosen Wan, Ridhwan.
I feel like I'm actually in enemy territory because I'm in Legends Fight
Yes,
Sports.
the best boxing gym ever.
Yes, with Muhamad Ridhwan. The what title are you currently holding right now?
I now hold the IBO International Super Featherweight title.
Nice. Actually, I've always wanted to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a Death Note fan?
No, not really. But is it because of the Legends
Yes,
logo?
exactly. You knew exactly where it was going.
I only found that out once the logo is out, like 3-4 months later. Then I figured out it was it looked similar to the Death Note.
Which was exactly my thought when I first saw that logo. I didn't even know what TCW meant. I initially thought that you were a big fan of like an anime which is called the Death Note, which has that particular font, that letter L. Who designed that logo, anyways?
I think it was one of our in-house designer friends, and now he's busy doing like wedding photography and stuff. So he's rarely here now.
Nice. How's the gym so far?
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if you ask any other bosses, they will say the gym is doing good. In reality, it's always a struggle to have a boxing gym business. I mean, it's a roller coaster ride. Sometimes you go up, sometimes you go down. Sometimes people try to poke you and make things difficult for you. But it is what it is.
Who's poking? Who's
Some
poking you?
other gyms, or I don't know, things happen. Maybe competition. But it keeps me sharp, keeps me on my toes, so it makes me want to improve. So that's all that matters.
So you are currently waiting for your next fight. Any idea who your opponent is?
We're actually looking at this Filipino and a few other Latin American fighters. They're gonna be at least top 30 or top 50. So the next fight will be in China first, early March in China. After that, then we will have a big one in Singapore in April, hopefully for the IBO World Featherweight title, because I'll be going down to the featherweight category then.
Okay, so you are defending your title for the next fight, and then
No, the next one I'm fighting in the featherweight category already, so I will try to fight for the IBO featherweight intercontinental maybe first. So in the one in April, then I will fight for the world.
so far you already have 3 belts, right? Like 3 titles, IBO and what's the other?
I am now the former WBA Asia Super Featherweight, former UBO World Super Featherweight, and currently the IBO International Super Featherweight.
So how does it? Do you consider yourself as probably the most successful professional boxer in Singapore?
I don't think it's something that I can describe myself to be successful. I think it goes down to the people to decide who's the best or who's the most successful. But in my context, I think success is about going to bed at night with a peaceful heart. So sometimes I do have that, sometimes I don't. So it's still a work in progress. But in terms of the titles, I like the titles. It's nice, but I'm always reminded that titles are just titles. Eventually, they just collect dust. I think what I fight for the people, for the country, for my family, I think it means so much more. And my goal is to always unite the people in Singapore through boxing. I think if I can do that, that will be a success, I think.
And you are currently fighting while at the same time juggling running a gym. How hard is that?
It is not hard, but it is like extremely hard. It's crazy. It's crazy hard. I mean, boxing is a lonely sport. Entrepreneurship is a lonely thing to do. So I'm trying to juggle 2 very lonely businesses, and it is always a challenge every day. It eats into your mind. It eats into your sleep. But I live for the challenge. I feel like boxing is where I can make an impact, and the gym is how I can create a positive influence to the people. So I think this is what I'm meant to do. This is probably maybe my destiny, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do it.
So I assume Coach Kadir is your first coach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So other than that, Ray Kai Tom,
Yep.
you've had over 200 amateur fights.
Close to 200. So
Close to 200.
when I was in the amateurs, Coach Kadir is my first and only coach when I was an amateur.
Okay.
So when I go to the pro ranks, then I decided to. I mean, we have to move forward, and I decided to go with Ray Kaiton from Ala Gym, and we embarked on this journey to go pro together. That's how it is.
So in a span of how many years is like your amateur career?
Oh, I started my amateur career when I was 17. So I finished my amateur career when I was about 28, I think.
You know, it's funny you say 17. I had reservists recently,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was casually sitting beside this guy who told me that I used to train with Ridhwan back with Kadir's gym and all that. So I don't know whether he was like blowing smoke up my ass or whatever, but I guess there are people back then who trained with you who are not even like boxing like right now.
Mm-hmm.
Probably moved on to
Getting married, have
getting married,
kids.
having kids. Yeah, that's right. So what is this obsession between you and prata?
Okay, first, prata is extremely nice. It's delicious. It's a comfort food, and more importantly, I've had very meaningful conversations with different people from the memories of eating prata.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it brings out the person in them. It's like you see what they order, what kind of food they eat, and from prata you realize that some people are actually allergic to eggs or they don't eat certain kind of eggs. So it's kind of weird. And also I think I had good memories with people. Basically, when we had these prata meetups.
So I reckon you've tried most prata places in Singapore.
I think I won't say I had tried most of the prata places, but I have tried many different kinds of prata.
What's your favorite prata place?
No particular one, but I always prefer the fluffy pratas compared to the crispy ones.
When I first saw that you could eat like prata with ice cream or chocolate
Mm.
or like banana, I was mind blown. I didn't know like it was very versatile kind of food, but I never got the stomach to actually order anything other than egg prata, onion prata, or plain prata because it's just weird to me to eat sweet to something that's oily and all that. So I don't know, but maybe other people are into that thing. But anyways, okay. Back to boxing. Your first professional fight was not in Singapore, right?
It was in Cebu, Philippines, in Pinoy Pride. So it was one of the biggest shows in Philippines actually.
Okay. So what prompted you to turn professional in the first place?
Actually after the SEA Games in Singapore, I was very very disappointed because I didn't get the goal. I've aimed for the goal. I mean, when I started amateur boxing, I didn't think I would represent Singapore. But then when it became a reality, I figured out, SEA Games goal could be something that I can achieve. So for so many years, I've gone to so many SEA Games, and the goal was to always get the gold medal in Singapore SEA Games.
Has there ever been any gold medalists for any Singaporeans winning the gold medalist?
Yeah, the last one we had was I think a long time ago. From we call him Cik Muklis. He's now the Encik in SCDF, I think. So he's the last one to get the gold for Singapore.
Actually, that name sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was many years ago. So we always trying to be the one. All of us are trying to be the one to bring back the gold medal to Singapore. And then for my time, it didn't happen. So I was pretty devastated. I wanted to quit. So I got the opportunity to go to Hungary, Budapest for a coaching course. So during the course, I was training to be a coach and all that. We learned about psychology, body anatomy, and at the point of time, I realized, I still prefer fighting than coaching. I mean, I've already been coaching at the point of time, but the thought of putting the gloves away for long wasn't something that I would want to happen.
At that point, you are.
I was 26, 28, 28 I think.
Yeah,
Wasn't exactly
late
young,
20s.
but still okay. Maybe I can reach my prime by then. So I decided to come back, and because also I have the gym, so the focus is on the business, and professional boxing is more of a business now. So I decided to go into it and take the challenge, because and I give up the amateur sport because I feel like I'm not as hungry as the other amateur guys to be fighting amateur. So I let that go, let somebody else get that goal, get that dream for Singapore, and I started this.
How, as someone who works in a gym myself, this from what I see in my own eyes, when AJ was still training for his first fight, most from what I saw him do is actually just pad works. rarely see him spar. Well, I don't know whether it's because there's no professional fighters for him to spar with in Singapore or whatever. But when it came to fight night, he did knock out his opponent in the first round. So I guess is Pat Ward really enough?
I think you need to have the right guidance. Like for me, when I wanted to go pro, I decided to go to Philippines because I know we don't have the capabilities here right now for the right people to train me, like the right professional boxers for me to look up to and to have an example. So I went to Cebu, I trained in Ala Gym, I stayed with the boys, I see how they eat, I see how they train. And it's very, very different from amateur boxing. So professional boxing, I think I would say, is you need to win, that's one, but you also need to be entertaining at the same time. There's a lot more focus on power, there's a lot more talk on strategy, tactics. I think that's one of the key difference between pro and amateur boxing. It's basically the same sport, but same but different.
You're also wearing you're not wearing protective headgears, and how many ounces?
Now the gloves are 8 ounce now, so I can really feel the guy's nose, and I can feel my knuckles land on the person's head.
It's like and maybe it's like what, 4 ounce, right?
Yeah, 4 ounce.
4 ounce glove. Wow. Okay. It hurts enough getting hit by a 16 ounce glove. So but with the right.
It's not as bad. It's not as bad as stepping on Lego, but it's still okay.
Which boxer, existing professional boxer, would you compare yourself with?
Of course I cannot compare myself with anybody out there because I always want to try to be the best version of myself. But I would describe myself as someone who can adapt. So for different fights, we always have different opponents. We have different strategies. Sometimes we have to force the fight. We have to pressure. We have to make the fight into a brawl. And other times we have to make it technical. We have to use our footwork. So we try to adapt. We try to change. So for different opponents, we're gonna bring our different game plan. So nobody can say, oh, Ridhwan is just gonna be doing this. So every fight, people will see a different Ridhwan. Opponents also will have to keep guessing. I think that's one of the things that we try to achieve. And if you were talking about old school boxers, I always like to watch people like Finito Lopez, Roberto Duran, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. And the boxers now, maybe I like Roman Gonzalez, Jerwin Angkahas from Philippines. So there are a lot of good guys. So I mean, I try to take a bit from everybody and try to make it my own.
You are probably like the only Singaporean boxer who's met both Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather within the span of 6 months. We know that you went to Floyd's gym for training, and you had an opportunity to see him and meet him. What was it like? Like, was it what you expected the experience to be?
I don't. I think in my mind, I expected more from Floyd, but he's a character. I think when the cameras on and then they start rolling, he becomes a totally different person.
He doesn't allow cameras in the gym, right?
Yep, no cameras. Even he himself will tell people to shut off the camera phones, and they are very strict about it. They have bodyguards looking around just to make sure you don't record anything.
Yeah.
You break the rule, you're out. You can't enter the gym anymore.
Especially when you were there, it was like within the time before he fought Conor McGregor.
Right? Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it was it obvious to you that like Floyd would win?
Yes, pretty obvious.
Yeah.
I don't think he was taking training seriously. He's always drinking Coke, I think. And I mean, I've never seen him spar, but I always know that he's always running. But he's just doing the basics, just enough to do okay in the fight.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, a lot of people don't understand like how good of a boxer Floyd really is. Mostly because the media let his bad
boy image,
character shine through rather than his skills. Probably no boxer in the right mind would put their money on Conor.
Correct.
Yeah. So, but so what? Talk about meeting Manny Pacquiao. Who set it up? Peter Lim.
Yeah, Mr. Peter Lim. He set it up, and he discussed that with Scott from Ringstar to make that happen. Then I think before the fight, Pacquiao was in town, so we got the chance to meet him.
Yes. Both opposite worlds, right?
Yeah, very, very, very. I think very, very different. I think Pacquiao. When I saw Pacquiao, he was always busy on his phone. He looks a bit tired. He looks very occupied in his mind.
He's like a political.
Yeah, he's a senator now, I think.
Yeah, he's into politics. Okay, did he give you any advice?
He just said good luck, keep punching, stay busy. I think pretty much that's about it. I think I think he's also, I think, tired from the travelling and all that. But it's nice to see him. He's actually like about my size, but his fists and his calves are super huge, man.
Years and years of
Yeah.
training. How do you come up with the name The Chosen One?
Okay, when I wanted to fight in Singapore, that was my third fight. So my first fight was in Philippines, second fight was in KL, Malaysia. The third one was gonna be in Singapore.
Somebody showering.
Yep, somebody is showering, someone's
Like,
flushing.
I hope this doesn't get captured into my podcast. What a
Yeah,
unceremonious way to
welcome
to celebrate my
Legends
first
Fight
podcast.
Sport.
Like, can hear somebody showering. So anyway,
Yep.
sorry, you're saying The Chosen One.
Yeah, so we're fighting in Singapore. So by that time, my previous promoter wanted to have a fight name for me, so we can sell off the brand, the image.
Mm-hmm.
So he said he wanted something very epic and something kung fu like or something. So he came up with The Chosen One. I said, okay, it's okay. I mean, that's not my ideal name, but somehow when I keep telling people, it's stuck. So people keep calling TCW.
So you ran with
So I just went along with it. I didn't know it was going to be that. I don't think TCW is catchy enough,
Mm-hmm.
but somehow I think everybody's having that now. So people are starting to hashtag TCW or The Chosen One. There's only one. So
I mean, at the end of the day, it's not the name that matters. It's like, what
what sticks
you
to
bring to the
people's
table.
mind. Then, so I said, okay, let's design a logo. So I designed the logo myself. Then it just kicked off until now. And then TCW.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite apt that my first episode, podcast numero uno, is with The Chosen One.
Yep.
Because I could have had anyone else, but I put you in
Yes.
because
Thank you.
It's just to
It's an honor.
it's just apt. In your own perspective, but without mentioning names or pissing people off, what can you tell from the battle of the promoters?
Mm-hmm.
Like what happened, and what was your position?
I think promoters are gonna be promoters. They have a job to do. They gotta do what they gotta do. They gotta market fights. They gotta market their fighters, and my job is to fight. Of course, I have my own opinions. Some I feel is not right. Some of it I feel could be better, could be handled better.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not in my place. It's not my place, not my position to say anything. So I mean, at the end of the day, it sometimes what happened between them makes the sport look bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like by me fighting and winning, it just balances out the negativity, and people don't really care about the politics so much. Hopefully,
That's true.
I just let them do what they want to do. I just focus on what I need to do, which is to fight and to win.
Okay. Speaking of promoters, let's segue into the boxing scene in Singapore.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you can even count the number of professional fighters that we have with your hand. I think is that 5 or?
I think we have about at least maybe close to 10. Close to 10.
Rafi, AJ, Shaida,
Zakaria, Norizan,
That's like 6.
Ash Martin.
Okay, that's all.
Have you counted Hamza?
That's
Oh.
8. Is that 7? 8? I don't
7,
know.
yeah.
I,
think
I,
close
was,
to-
I was holding the mic in my phone, so I
Close to 10.
close to,
Close
okay.
to 10.
So it's about 8. We have about 8 professional fighters and like times 1,000 of amateur fighters in Singapore, all coming from different gyms. How do you describe the amateur boxing in Singapore between when you first started with Coach Kadir's gym and like the state of it now?
Amateur scene is definitely so much better than how I was started. When I started, when there's a fight, there's only 20 people or 30 people in attendance, and that include the judges and the cornerman.
20 people in
Yeah, it's so bad. But now I think the industry, I mean,
the reception has been
it's better. It's better now. People are more excited. People know the marketing is done better. I mean, the different gyms are putting in an effort to market the events, and different gyms are also promoting their own amateur events, which is good. And definitely I would say it's so much better. But I think people have always wanted to compete a lot more. I mean, back then when it was me, I wanted to compete every month, maybe two or three times a month, but there was never a chance. And I always hear about people saying, they wish that Singapore have more fights. But then now that Singapore, there are more fights in Singapore, they're not taking the fights.
Nobody wants to
Yeah,
participate.
because they have no
Somebody
they
come
have
into the
no
door.
idea. I think because the boxers, they have no idea what they want. They don't know how serious it is to be competing seriously.
Is it because they want fresh new faces, right? I guess you have your own Champs Boxing Series, which is
yeah, Champs Boxing Series. Yeah, the purpose of the Champs Boxing Series is to create a platform for amateurs. If you notice, our shows are pretty simple. We have no fancy lighting, fancy sound system. It's basically just a platform for people to compete. So previously there are only like maybe 1 or 2 fights in Singapore, but now because of Champs Boxing Series, we do like 3 events in a year. So we actually boosted the whole amateur boxing scene, I believe. And for every event we have close to 30 or 35 bouts, and we have like 8 or 9 female bouts, which is
Yeah.
really
It's
good. Yeah,
very very
that's,
grueling.
yeah, that's just the focus, to create a platform for people to compete. But then people to start to be complacent. People start to be, oh, it's not as nice as this event, it's not as nice as that event. I think these people don't understand the nature of
The whole
of the
purpose
sport.
of the
Yes.
I guess they like the instant gratification out of a fight. You know, I won my fight. You know, and then like
Yep.
the I guess the
Yeah.
Instagram post and the
Yes,
Facebook
I
post
think
that comes
they
with
just like the glamour. I think they watch a bit too much of HBO 24/7 and Rocky, and they feel like boxing is glamorous. They can get girls or attention, but they have to. But people who think like this always don't go very far. So I don't really care about this
Yeah,
kind
I
of
mean
people.
sometimes people just want to get 2 fights in and then
Yeah, and
be
call
done
themselves a
with it.
boxer and then retire undefeated with 2
Undefeated.
fights. So it's
I know a bunch of people who's like that. 2 fights and then
yeah, retire undefeated.
retire undefeated. That's right. Undisputed. Anyways, I mean obviously we can't change people's perception or people's how they approach the sport. But as a promoter yourself, what do you think needs to change?
I think it's the culture. I think as much as we always say we need boxers, right, to compete for Singapore, we actually need more knowledgeable trainers. We need trainers who are sincere, coaches who are sincere. Yes, of course, the gyms are all, we need to be competitive. I mean, you are from a different gym, I'm from a different gym. If somebody comes to my gym and say which gym is the best, I would say my gym is the best. And that is fine. But you don't go around demoting other people's ways of doing things, because that's just not how it is meant to be. How you carry the sport now is how the younger generation is going to look at the sport, and how the future generation is going to bring the sport around to different people. So if you bring on the politics from the past to now, it's never going to end. I don't have a definite answer, but I feel it starts with the trainers. The trainers have a proper culture. They teach well, they coach well. It's not just about boxing, it's also about being a good person, having a broad mindset of accepting how different people coach. Maybe we can go somewhere. Then the people will say, you know what, this coach is not that bad. This coach is not that bad. No, we are okay. We just competing. Eventually, this is just a sport.
Do you agree that there's been a vast improvement since when you've started and now? But it's just that it could have been better, but it's just moving at a snail pace because
Yes, it's
a lot
very
of
very
people-
slow. It's very slow, and yes, we are improving. We always have events, but the problem is we have fighters who only fight once. After that, they don't want to fight anymore. And we need people who wants to compete seriously, and we don't have that. And also we don't have the right people to nurture this talent, to invite them to the national team, to train them proper. And I think this is something that can be improved.
a lot of Singaporeans in particular, it's hard for them to go boxing full time or fighting full time, any combat sports for that matter, like because of the pace of life that we have. And it boils down to how much you really want it, right? I mean, in terms of like glass ceiling, you probably like pave the way a lot for a lot of people. You've done very well for yourself. Singaporeans, I guess, they have to really want to take the sport seriously.
Yep.
And not like as just something to pimp their
Yeah, correct.
Instagram.
I think it's not just boxing. I think it's everything that you do in life. Even if you want to be a great chef, you want to be a great dancer, you want to be a great even a designer, architect. You need to sacrifice. You need to give up being comfortable, because you need to get to the point where you almost have nothing. Then you come back, and you come back stronger. I think that's something that not a lot of people are willing to take. They just want a shortcut. They just want the instant noodle strategy, 2 minutes and everything's ready. But unfortunately, it's not like that. Not just in boxing and all, but also in everything else. I may pave the way, but it's also up to them whether they want to do it themselves.
Let's talk a bit about your boxing. What's been the most effective punch that you've used for your fights?
I've always loved the body shots, but I think during the training we have focused a lot on the jabs. So I think the jab is my most important punch, the key, because the jab set up everything. And my philosophy is, if you can't land the jab, you can't land anything else. And even just the jab, there's so many different kinds of jab. There's different ways of using it. There's different strategies of using it. Jab to the body, jab to the head, slip jab, overhand jab, touch jab, power jab, speed jab. So there's a lot of variations to one just very simple punch.
The body shots works best for you, you feel?
Yeah, but as I go pro, I think I cannot just commit to body shots. I will need to use the jabs first, because because it's really dangerous in the pro to be careless. Then you open up, you got hit by somebody who's throwing a punch with 8-ounce gloves. You might see yourself kissing the floor. I mean, it happened to me once, so I wouldn't want to feel that again.
It's funny to me. I mean, we have professional fighters who lost, but a lot of our fighters almost have clean records. Like we have a lot of undefeated fighters. Why do you think that is?
In Singapore?
Yeah, like I mean, as a outside viewer, in the outside perspective, as a guy coming in to watch the fight, I just feel that I don't know whether these boxers are given challenging fights or not, but it's just that their undefeated title is just like, it feels too good to be true. Not to discount. I'm not trying to say that your fights are phony or whatever. I'm trying to say that, you know, it's like almost everyone's hasn't lost a fight yet.
I think this is a crucial thing that we are facing right now. We need our boxers to win, but at the same time we also need to balance of having them fighting equally matched fighters, which is also difficult, because like I said, pro boxing is business. You fight better opponents, you need to pay them a bit more, and it also depends on the promoters, how they want to bring up their fighters, and of course they want to make sure that their fighters will win, get the necessary experience, get the exposure that they need. But I think the people are starting to see that they want to see the Singaporean fighters against better opponents. I think that's one of the main reasons why I moved to Ringstar, where I decided to, let's do this, because they can provide me like opponents from Africa. They can sanction. They are willing to pay sanctioning fees to the sanctioning bodies. I think that's what I want. I don't want to just, of course I know I don't want to bite more than what I can chew, but I think after speaking to them, they have a clear pathway. Okay, we're gonna fight fighters that are gonna make you grow, go up the ranks, and not have easy fights. And like I said, even the previous fight I had to go 12 rounds. It's a good thing to do, because I know that in my mind that I have been there. So when I go into more important world championship fights, it will be useful.
I've always felt the perception that people have this fear of losing, because people are going to think that, they are bad fighters or whatever. If you put up a good fight but you lose anyway, nobody's gonna discount the fact that you tried your best. It's at the end of the day, you're right. Like, boxing is a very competitive sport where there's always gonna be a winner, and there's always gonna be a loser, and unfortunately someone does have to lose. I mean, there's always can be a draw, but but anyways, like but to me, it's okay to lose. Like, it's still a learning experience.
I mean, like if the whole of Singapore thinks like that, it'll be great. But unfortunately, we are just a nation of people who likes to bring down other people, unfortunately. And you want a Singaporean athlete, we give it to you. You don't want some foreign athlete representing Singapore, we give you a Singaporean athlete. Do you support us? Nope. So athletes are always in a tight position. When we are asked to fight, that's what we do. We fight, and if we lose, I mean, it's our rice bowl. Our rankings will go down, and we are not sure if people are gonna come and watch again. For example, I've been winning my fights a lot by knockouts. Yep. So when I fight, even tough guys, even after getting knocked down and I knock the guy out after, they will always still say, "Oh, his fight is fixed and he's an easy opponent." So when I went 12 rounds, they said, "Oh, now Ridhwan has got no power." Now people are always saying so many things.
Yeah.
So I think as fighters, we just need to,
there's always gonna be doubters.
You cannot always make people happy, and there's always the fear of losing. People always say don't think about it, but I think about it a lot. But how I feel better about it is that I just think that in the dressing room, I'm gonna die one day, and all this is not gonna matter whether I win or lose. So I'm just gonna go out, do it, make myself happy.
But you've lost before, like I mean, in terms of your amateur boxing, you've lost a fight, and look at you now. You're an undefeated professional fighter. You wouldn't have reached where you are now without your losses.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, to me, winning all the time is good, but you know, if you lose, you get to learn from your mistake as well, and that's where you
Correct.
can improve.
You learn most when you lose. But when you go pro, when you lose, I guess you're gonna go down a lot. So we gotta. I think all fighters wanna protect that. They wanna protect their resume. So I understand that. But when it comes to a point of time where they need to fight a real challenge, I guess they will have to take it to, rather than to have just a padded record.
Okay. Last few questions. Who do you have your eye on? Who do you think is like an uprising, talented boxer that you've seen?
Amateur boxer, I think, okay, there's a few from different gyms. Okay, but I don't really know their names. But I would say from my gym, I would say Velvin. He's 17.
Phenomenal.
He's strong. We call him steroid boy because he's too big for his age.
I hope he's not taking it.
He's not. No, he's
Okay,
not.
shout out to Velvin.
Velvin Tan.
Shout out to Velvin Tan.
And I also have Danisha, lady boxer. She's in the 48 kilograms category. She's pretty good, decent technical, but I think she needs some time to be stronger. But I think she's getting there. She will have a tough opponent against the Singapore national champion now, Leona Hui,
Yeah.
who is also my friend. So
Mhm.
I think it'll be interesting to fight against, getting my boxer to fight against my friend. My boxer lost to her, so we're gonna try to win her the next time. Leona, we're coming for you, Leona. Leona Hui. Leona Hui.
For people who are interested in boxing, or people who have started boxing, or people who are actually boxing right now, who is actually listening to this podcast, what valuable advice can you give to them?
Valuable advice is stop listening to podcasts and start running. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, you can
but
run after.
Stop listening to other podcasts.
Yeah,
but
stop listening to other
my
podcasts.
podcast you have to keep
Yeah,
listening.
you gotta listen to the boxing podcast. My advice is, you gotta love what you do. You have to do it because you want it, because you love it. Because in boxing, there are so many reasons for you to quit. Whether losing, family, somebody's your future boyfriend or girlfriend is gonna be telling you, why you box? It's gonna be a waste of time. But if you love what you do,
It's a very
Yeah.
it's a very nice impression.
so if you love what you do, there's a better chance of you of persevering the journey and continuing the journey and not give up easily.
You are living proof. A guy from Yishun. Or should I not have
From the ghetto,
should I have not disclosed where you live?
Never mind, it's okay.
Yishun. Yishun is where the
I'm not that famous yet, so it's okay.
It's where the president lives. A guy from Yishun who clawed his way to the top. Actually achieved a modicum of success in the realm of boxing in Singapore. And you've done very well for yourself. You've paved the way for a lot of boxers in Singapore. I guess the last question I need to ask is, what's next for the Chosen One?
What's next is we already started our training camp. Okay, we're gonna decide our opponent soon. Gonna announce the opponent soon. And the next fight for sure will be in China in March, and Singapore in April. So we're trying to figure out our opponent. We're gonna see what's best. We're gonna see who we're gonna fly in to be our sparring partners. So that requires a lot of money, requires a lot of investment, but we are willing to do it. So hopefully all this hard work and sacrifice will pay off.
Right. Okay. Yeah. It's a very, very spicy and very nice podcast. A lot of
Inside info.
exclusive information.
Okay, before I end, I started boxing being afraid, very, very afraid. I remember having my first two fights when somebody's punching towards me. I was bending and I was looking away. And Coach Kadir in the corner, he was so angry. He wanted to throw in the chair.
Throwing the chair in the ring?
Chair, and hit me with the chair.
Why?
Because he's pissed off because every time
Of your performance?
Because every time the opponent punches me, I turn away and look away and I want to turn back and run.
Oh, but this was your first few
Yeah,
fights.
this was my first two fights. So
Okay.
no matter how shitty you are, just
You
start.
have to-
Yeah, and just go with the flow, just persevere. So I think it's a pretty good podcast. I mean, so I'm looking forward to listen to the other speakers talking to you. So
Thank you
Yep.
so much. All right. But yeah, I assure you, I am balls deep in this project. Thank you very much, Ridhwan. 2018, 2019, and future looks very, very bright for you.
hopefully,
And many more titles to come.
yep. Thank you, man. Appreciate
Bye.
it. Bye.